We have a pretty big primetime game coming up for SEC football. We have the LSU Tigers against the Florida Gators. I thought I'd just give my thoughts and reactions to how this game could potentially play out. All right, so after the AP rankings came out, and we've seen that Florida, after the upset loss to the Bulls, have completely dropped out of the top 25, which is very, it's deserving. Um, we now look ahead where they have to go to LSU and they have to play the Tigers, and somehow, after getting embarrassed, find a way to regroup and get ready to go and sneak out a win. Because right now, I mean, if we're talking about this early into the season, like the Heisman train and Heisman hype, I mean, Nussmeier and Mateer. That's what it is right now. I mean, when we look at last season, the hype this early into the season, I believe Milrow was still on the list. Travis Hunter, yeah, he was up there because the popularity and being just up there in the top five watch list. Anyways, when we started it, but Gene T, after his performance against Oregon, really put himself on the map. And then we kind of saw how the rest of that season played out. But, anyways, without getting too sidetracked and lost, I think right now more than ever, it's all or nothing. This is a do or die game for the Florida Gators because I really think if this game is a loss for the Gators, this is going to kind of probably derail and determine kind of how the rest of this season goes. Where is this going to be the Florida Gators team that goes 10-2, and they lose their close games against LSU again, or is this going to be where because they start 1-2 after week 3, it turns into what ends up being a 6-6 record or a 7-5 record? Where could this be the game that derails them into having that kind of schedule once it's all said and done after the 12 games? Or is this the kind of game where they get back into it, jump back on the horse or the gator in this instance, and this gets them to the, that 10 win? Because they got to play. You look at their schedule every single week from here on out, and even maybe Mississippi State, because Mississippi State beat Arizona State, and if they keep winning, they're going to be ranked in the top 25. Every single game from here on out for the Gators is going to be ranked, and so I would look at if the Gators end up being 9-3 once it's all said and done, they're getting in. Don't kid yourself. They got to play the Gators, the Longhorns, the Tigers. I don't think they played Bama this year. Who else do they play? Oh, they play South Carolina. They play, but yeah, out of their 12 games, they play Miami as well. So they play the Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes will be ranked. So again, we've talked about this schedule all off season. They have the toughest schedule, and of their 12 games, the Bulls one is probably the only one where that's not going to be a ranked matchup. Unlike the week 1 game 2 against Long Island. So it's like they got to figure it out now, or so they might go 6-6, 7-5. I don't know, but that's just my thoughts on that, about this being win or go home kind of game, because Lagway, he's got to just turn it on. There's something about like SEC games where I mean we saw it a couple years ago in I believe it was 2020, that year where Kyle Trask and the Gators were doing really well, and what were some of the big important games that they put together to get to the title game? They beat Georgia and they beat LSU, and I don't think it's going to be any different this time around. I really think, yeah, because even if you lose this close tight one, it's not going to get any easier, because guess who you got next week? Well, no, in 2 weeks from now, in October, you got Arch Manning and the Longhorns. So it's going to be a test. It's going to be a true test, and we know it because we've been staring at Florida's schedule. That's the word I was looking for. We've been staring at it all off season. And after that upset loss to the Bulls, it makes you kind of go, okay, we're in for a long season if they can't get it figured out. So that's just my thoughts on that, guys. What do you think is going to be the outcome of this game? Right now I'm leaning, if I were to make a prediction, right now I'm leaning towards LSU, and the reason why is because, yes, Louisiana Tech gave them, some fits, and it was a low-scoring game. But what LSU has already proven like how Ohio State and Notre Dame, as well with Miami, is these teams are ready to go. They just are, because they started out strong. They had a great week 1 opponent, and now we're seeing it now, because I think LSU is a hell of a lot more ready than the Gators are. But that's just my thoughts on that. I'll catch you guys in the next video.